background's so awesome.
Thanks. Well, hello everyone. I'm Mac the Gray Skeptic. I'm here with Beast Nor God, which I have been granted the option of calling him Brad. So, Brad, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I guess I'm a new YouTuber. I just done like a couple videos, but I've been watching a lot of Godless Iowan and a lot of the atheist community online, and I was like, you know what? I've got some ideas. I think we can get a good community rolling.
Awesome. Yeah, and from what I've seen so far, you have some really good content. You have some really great, important views that you share, and I really appreciate your channel so far.
Awesome. That's one of the things that I've been trying to do something different, man. Because like everybody beats, debunking God with a stick, and it got to find some new avenues, away from everybody else.
Yeah. You have to learn how to do your own thing because if if viewers can find it on someone else's channel, they will.
Yep. What's the point?
That's right. Well,
If we're all talking about the same thing, then we're not going to progress anywhere.
right. Yeah, it's hard to, and we all have different views too. So it's really nice to hear what everyone's view is
Oh,
because not all of us have the same political views, um, um, and not even all of us have the same non-religious views.
oh
So
yeah,
I
the
think it's really
atheist
important that we all
community
share.
is super diverse.
Hmm. It is. Well, all right. Well, I have a nice little list of questions here for you, and then I want to check real quick, see who's made it to our chat room here. Say hi to chat. Oh, we have Unholy Mole. How you doing? Zero, and Not Your Witness,
Very
and of course
nice.
another freaking atheist. Don's always here to help with the live chat because, as you guys know, I am crap at watching the live chat and doing an interview. So,
I can't even see
hello.
it.
I have to pull it up on my phone. I have it going at the same time, so we can't
Oh,
see it on here on Hangouts. So you might be able to open it on the computer as well. I don't know how it would affect um, the stream on your computer though. No idea. So it's up to you. All
that's
right.
weird.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, again, welcome, Brad. It's very nice to meet you. I've only watched about half of your videos, and I'm excited to watch more. The last one I watched was The Atheist Community Has a Problem, which
Yeah.
was a really good. It was a really good video, and it really um, reminded me of some issues that I had when I first came to atheism. But I'd like to jump back into that later and kind of ask you, like your path to where you are now. And the first thing I'd like to point out and ask about is you served for a while, didn't you?
I did 4.5 years.
4.5 years. And what branch?
The army. I was a medic.
Awesome. Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take it back, but I mean, it sucked balls while I was doing it. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough. Well, first off, thank you for doing that. I appreciate anyone who serves. Um,
I appreciate it, but thank yous isn't necessary. I, I did it just because I don't know. It's weird to hear thank yous just because I didn't do it to get a thank you. You know?
mhm. Yeah, it's I still feel like it's important for everyone to send a thank you at least every now and then,
Oh yeah, yeah.
especially with this being Memorial Day weekend. I think it's kind of appropriate. But
I appreciate it. Thanks.
yeah, yeah, no problem. Um, next thing I want to ask you about is your faith. What was your faith before you made it here?
I it I guess I never really I kind of always thought there was a God, but there wasn't really anything we would go to different churches and stuff like that, but I guess I would just call myself a Christian. But beyond that, I never thought about it. I never read the Bible. I just had this overview that God existed, and that's all that I cared about.
That was just part of your worldview.
Yeah,
Did you go to church very often, ever?
no, it on like super special occasions, and then for a while, it just we just never went.
All right, so you had like kind of like a mediocre like Christian religion. It's just like the overall view, kind of like what the community around you makes of it.
Yeah, pretty much it was like everybody in the house believed in God, but we really didn't talk about it, you know? It was just, yeah, we believed in God. All right, let's get on with our lives.
Fair enough. All right. Well, then what really made that change? From what I've gathered from your channel, a lot of it came after you served in the army and getting into your news phase.
Yeah. Is I one day I was super conservative. Uh growing up, and then when I got out of the army, I was super conservative still. I didn't really know where to go. I didn't know what to do, so I got a job as a night manager, and while I was as a night manager, I had a lot of time to research stuff on the computer, so I started listening to Alex Jones, started listening to a bunch of like conspiracy theory, the Patriot movement, the Three Percenters, the militia groups. I was interested in all of this. And then one day I was watching one of these YouTube videos that was talking about FEMA death camps. And I was like, "Oh, I can't believe the government would do something like this." And then for some reason it hit me that at the end of every one of these videos, there was some end quote about the end times of Jesus coming and destroying the world. And I was like, wait a second. I don't, at that time, I had already came to the conclusion that I didn't really believe in God. And then this struck me weird. I was like, why do all of these ideas or videos have the same end times philosophy? So then I started researching religion. And then once I came to the conclusion that I could no longer support a belief in God, everything else fell apart around me. Like conservatism didn't make sense anymore. It just, everything began to change right when I decided that there was no reason the Bible was written by man, and all of that stuff.
Gotcha. So what were you listening to that changed your mind? You said you started researching religion.
It, it's funny because it was the movie Zeitgeist, but now I look back at Zeitgeist and I'm like, yeah, that's not the greatest movie or whatever. But it started to plant the seeds of question. And then, once you have those seeds and then you start developing on them, I was just like, oh, okay, well, let's research this and then let's research this. And then it just all fell apart. And I was just like, you know what? I'm a I'm a rational, intelligent individual. Why do I believe this shit?
Yeah, with the odds, it can make you feel stupid pretty fast for ever believing it.
Yeah. And like one, and then I took a step back and looked at my political beliefs, and then I realized like how much of my political beliefs were fueled by not the belief in God, but the culture that Christianity creates because of its teachings. And then once I started looking at that, I was like, well, if I believe that because of the Christian community, and that's but the Christian community isn't, the things that they teach aren't really that great. So then I just started questioning even more.
Gotcha. Um, I really wanted to ask you a little bit more about in depth what you really got into with watching Alex Jones pretty much every day, and just pretty much the whole thing because you talked about um, the Patriot Act and
Hmm.
the Three Percenters. Can you go into greater detail on
So
because I used to watch a lot of Glenn Beck, but even that's been like probably like 10 years.
see, I didn't
So
watch Glenn
refresh
Beck,
me.
which was weird. but I watched like a lot of what is that, Jesse Ventura, and
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
conspiracy.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it so the patriot movement, or is basically the sovereign citizen movement, where the government is considered a corporation that owns people, and through the laws there are certain wording that you could like ignore or reinterpretate as you are this citizen that can live in the United States without the authority of the United States on you. And of course, that sounds really interesting. And then you start watching all these videos of these sovereign citizens like challenging driver's license in front of cops, or like going to court and arguing that laws don't apply to them because they're not citizens. They're not citizens as what the Constitution lines, or and it it spoke to this like innate behavior of, I guess, just wanting to be a rebel and trying to find a place in society where like society doesn't want you to be. But now I look back at it and I was like, of course driver's license makes sense. The law is written for the driver's license. You can't just walk around without, a license plate on your car.
No, it
And
doesn't
then
quite work like that.
no, and then, the three percenters is this idea that only 3% of the American population fought in the Revolutionary War, which is whatever. But it's that all firefighters and police officers and soldiers, they've taken this initial oath to uphold and defend the Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic. And when you get out of police, or you get out of being a soldier or whatever, this sense of brotherhood and camaraderie still exists, and the three percenter speaks to that overarching narrative of protecting the Constitution. It gives you like this purpose.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And then how long did you really stay involved in that mindset?
It was for like 6 months that I was really into it, and then for some reason, once I just saw that one video with that prophecy at the end of it, I was just like, who the fuck would believe that Jesus is coming to kill everybody? And why do all the videos and everybody I talk to about this all have this same ideas? Are they mentally handicapped? Or am I mentally handicapped? So I just took a step back to like reevaluate my situation.
I've been watching a lot of the Cleveland Street Preacher recently.
Mhm.
If you haven't come across him yet, be careful. um, because he's some kind of whack, but he definitely believes and that Jesus is going to come back and kill everyone. But he really doesn't. He doesn't focus on that.
Mhm.
It's more of he's going to come back and save everyone except for the non-believers, and and it's
And
just silly because he's like, yeah, go on.
that's sort of how these like militia groups and these three percenter groups kind of, they get around this topic of like, Jesus is going to come and the rapture is going to come, but we're going to be like the crusaders and we're going to be the ones that are going to be saved because we're the righteous ones. It has that same mentality with it.
It does, and they don't focus on the fact that everyone else dies,
Yeah.
and like a street preacher Joe likes to say, all you atheists just paint God as this horrible person. And you guys just don't even know how to read the Bible. It's like, no, you're just ignoring the part that's awful. Like, how do you do
because
that?
because when you feel that you're going to be saved, you can, all the bad things in the Bible doesn't make sense because you're the one that's following the law. You're the one being obedient. And it's
Right.
one of those things like, well, if you break the law and you get shot, oh well. It's that same type of mentality.
Yeah. And it's not. I'm more of a humanist, and I don't really adhere to that kind of thought. I think
Yeah,
it's
and
gross.
no, but I mean like it's that authority type thing where like if I'm going to be obedient and other people who are not obedient get punished, well, I'm cool because I'm the one that's doing the right stuff, you know?
Hmm.
Like you're sitting on your high horse.
Yeah, I think where it really gets dangerous is with a lot of the what I'll say now is the stereotypical right wing people who um, believe in objective morality and objective higher power. They watch Fox News. They love their guns, and they
Yeah.
think that they're willing. They're not willing. They feel like they have this divine right to judge
Yep.
people and take lives, or just anyone who disagrees with them was probably a bad person. And I think that's where it really gets dangerous.
It
And
is. It is.
obviously it can go way further, where they even see that Ku Klux Klan or um, any of the really big radical groups are like, oh wow, that's awful. Like, you guys know you're only like a couple steps away from that, right? You
Yeah.
just
But if you think about it,
it's
like think about the Marines and their mentality. It's kill them all and let God sort them out later. That's what like this broader community has kind of adopted. You know, God will cast judgment on them. All I got to do is send them to God,
Mhm.
like a vigilante.
Yeah, that reminds me of Toby Keith and Willie Nelson's song "Beer for My Horses." Exactly what that song's about, and that's like
Yeah,
exactly what a lot of country music is about. But that's like the poster child of it.
yeah, and it's crazy. And this is one of the things that like why I did that video about we have a problem in the atheist community, because there are a lot of atheists in these communities actually. A lot of soldiers get out and they don't believe in God, but they still have this like mindset of a religion and they're looking for somewhere to go. But it's the same way as when, somebody deconverts. They don't know what to do and they're looking for guidance if you're that type of person. I believe that there are some people that like to be told what to do because it makes their life easier. And that's they
Absolutely.
choose to have an easier life. So they'll look for something with a step-by-step program to tell them how to be successful or tell them how to be a good person. And when the Bible does that and then you take it away from them, all sorts of things can fill in that gap. And I hate using that term because that's what Christians use. I'm like, what are you going to do? Replace religion with? And I do
Right.
think humanism, secular humanism, is a great idea, but I'm also wary because it's also a set of, guidelines. But the difference with that is it can change.
Hmm.
And that's how I guess I get over my anti-theist type ideas when it comes to secular humanism, is that it's okay because it can change with the times. It's not stuck in dogma.
Right. Right. No, it's not, and it's I feel like humanism can be more or less used as a filler for religious views, and also political views, but because it's more or less just it's just a moral landscape of ideas.
Yeah.
It's just it's a lot of what Sam Harris talks about. It's just like, is there, think of the worst possible existence, and then the um, best possible existence. There's a better and there's a worse, and I feel like that's what humanism is based off of. Is just leaning towards the better, like aiming for the
Mhm.
better for humanity in every aspect. And I think it bleeds into not just humanity, but a lot of people uh, take humanism and the definition of humane and kind of stick those together for other living beings on this planet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say that
no,
right?
I completely agree. Like, humanism was something that I looked a lot into, and then I was like, hey, maybe I want to become a pastor or something like that. And then I was like, that's just right now that's not where I would want to go, but it does provide a great framework for those people who are looking for a framework, or it provides a great starting place for somebody who doesn't have a starting place.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, and obviously not for everyone. For I obviously think that's a really great framework because that's the one that I adhere to, and I think it's just a good framework. I feel
Yeah,
like
like the Humanist Manifesto, right? Version 3. I think they're on version 3.
maybe I don't know. I haven't looked into that actually yet.
Oh, well, you should
I don't spend a lot of my time researching.
Oh, you should read the
Uh,
Humanist Manifesto, man. It is really great. And that's that
or most keep
framework
up
I'm
on
talking
everyone.
about.
I'm sorry, say that again. You broke up a little bit.
You should read the Humanist Manifesto because it's a really great framework that puts like all the main points of humanism into a document that you can pretty much like carry with you if you want. I think they're on like version 3 now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd absolutely be willing to check that out.
It's like the 20 commandments of humanism. It's that it doesn't carry the weight of a commandment, you know? Like most of
Right.
them are like, we always strive towards the scientific conclusion and we always treat people with dignity. It's just these general ideas.
Right. And I think that's important, especially the part where it's based more closely to science. Because, like you said, that can change when we find something in science, um, and it conflicts with older information. Well, we change it. It's not like religion, and unless
Hmm.
you're talking about Catholics, because they'll just like blend everything together.
They're trying to recruit people, man.
They are. It's like Catholicism is the religion that is we are many, you are but one.
I've
It
never
is
thought of
legion.
it. Yeah, yeah. When everybody's like, "Oh, it's the cool pope," and it's just like, "Nah, man, all popes are lame." Just because he might have say some things that are ambiguous enough for you to be like, "Oh, he supports gay people," and it's like, "Nah, he said it in a certain way that you're latching on to, but deep down inside, he's still Catholic."
Yeah, well put. He's still Catholic.
Yeah, I don't see how you can change that in the book.
Um, no, and it's hard to. It's a lot of mental gymnastics, really. Um, um, we have something here in the side chat. Unholy Mole, thanks you for your service.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Oh, Glow J is in the chat. Hi, Glow J. Is a
Hello, everybody.
Christian. Actually, tries to. Well, I will do it again. Deal with it. Cool. Yeah, I've seen Glow J around before. Um, he's pretty cool from what I know.
I'm
I don't know if he's
I'm still
gonna.
pretty new to this, so
Cool. He's a Christian. We have a Christian on my channel. This has never happened. What do I do?
but what's funny is I actually have
End stream.
I have a really good Christian friend who he wants to start his own church. He wants to but he believes in like socialist Christianity where like Christianity is meant to be a religion in which you help people. Like the reason why it's called the shining city on the hill is not because that's where all the wealth should go. It's because that's where how you should dissipate the wealth from the center, because those are good people that will help others. He has a very interesting take on Christianity.
That is interesting. Towards my last couple of years of Christianity, I realized that God is pretty much just a dictator. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, if he's a good God, you would want him as your dictator if
Yeah.
he's as good as everyone says he is. And that's absolutely fine. And I told my mom that, and she was immediately offended. Just like,
Why?
so like I explained it to her. She's like, I can see how you say that, but I don't like that word. Just like,
Yeah,
the
it's
problem.
because they feel that they have this agency or free will.
Hmm.
So a dictator doesn't really coincide with those terms.
No, but I mean, if he gave you a free will without you having a say in it, he's probably a good guy, right?
Yeah, he's just playing tricks on you.
Yeah. All right. So, Brad, what is your channel's goals?
So I guess originally I started with I just wanted to share my ideas on religion and politics, and I write a lot. I like to research. I like to write papers. And I was like, I write all these papers and stuff and nobody listens to them. Maybe I'll just start speaking into a microphone and get some ideas going. Like my theory on the NRA and wealth inequality. Like I spent a lot of time developing this theory and I want people to talk about it because it might help us understand some of the bigger issues when it comes to one issue voting.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree, and that's something where I would say I would disagree with you what you said in the beginning of the stream is where if we all just say the same thing, um, we're not really going to get anywhere. But that's something that I've said. I think Shannon said, and I think the more people say these important points, maybe the closer we get to them being normalized.
Yeah, no, no, what I meant is like how many times can you tell a scientific fact? Like, a tree is a tree. Like you just can't argue that anymore?
I
But
don't
I mean
know. I
like
mean, I've heard it's also an elephant.
well, yeah, but I mean, if we're talking like philosophical ideas or something like that, of course, different perspectives make sense. But
Yeah.
I mean, like evolution, there's not very many ways you could talk about evolution because it's just a set theory. And
Hmm.
once it's been discussed by like 100 people, I don't feel like I need to discuss it anymore. They can
Right.
go to somebody else and talk about it.
Right. Absolutely. And
And we
yeah,
all can't be subject matter experts on everything.
no, we
It-
can't.
and that's why, you specialize in something and I don't need to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, it's important to find what you're passionate about and just jump into that. And I've really enjoyed your videos on the political sides of things and your coverage on the that last shooting. What was it, the Santa Fe one?
Yeah, the Santa Fe one. Because I
Yeah,
live in Texas and I
yeah.
actually work in government too. I have a state job in which I work right next to the Capitol.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
I
Um,
I try to keep a very mellow tone when it comes to politics and stuff like that. I don't try to inflame anybody, but I do have policies and I do have stances that I will advocate for, and it's only to get a discussion going. It's not
right.
because I know I'm right. It's just because this is what I think will have something better. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and that's important. Just really getting the conversation going and not being afraid to like give your point of view on YouTube or anywhere really, because it's again it's a free country. That's what you fought for, So
Yeah.
stand up and use your voice, as I have godless engineers merch on me right now.
Yeah, and I just did a video on the national anthem stuff, and
Oh,
basically I don't stand for the national anthem, and it's because of other reasons, not just because of political. It's just because if you're going to give me the option to do something, I'm not going to do it because that's just how I am. I like to be, outside of the group so that I can see things from a different perspective. But I mean, stand if you want, sing the national anthem. I don't care. The I enjoy this country because you have the freedom to not do those things. And religious nationalism scares the shit out of me. So
mhm.
anything that tilts towards that direction, I'm completely against. The anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance, I do not support.
Gotcha. How come exactly?
Well, so the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, I'm left leaning, so socialism has some things that I like. However, when it comes to the national anthem, the reason why I'm against it is because it produces this love of country that's supposed to act like a religion. It's supposed to replace your belief in God, and that is just as scary as something on the right, because you don't need a religion built around a state. You need free thinking individuals that support their country because that's what they came to the conclusion of. Uh, the Pledge of Allegiance was written by a Christian socialist, so it has the same tone of trying to get people the same way Christianity and socialism tries to do in this state religion, and I just not about that. That, and it all came about because of the Red Scare. Like, whoa, communism is the devil. It's full of atheists, and we got to make sure we're like this huge god country to show them that we're not degenerates. I just all that shit is stupid.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I don't understand a lot of it. Um, like the what you call it, the nationalism, the what you call it?
The like a religious nationalism.
Yes, yes, religious nationalism. I'm not super. Um, I haven't heard that term a lot, but I feel like that's from what you're explaining. That's pretty much my brother for the most part. But like he's still religious, but he's very like um, as um, as some would say, he's really gay for his country.
See, and there's like two types of nationalism that goes on there, because there's the religion of like the Constitution being the Bible, the founding fathers being Jesus. There's that religious aspect of it. And then you put that on with like this religion of Jesus saying that our country, or God is saying our country is the best in the world. You have a dangerous ideology right there, because
Yes.
not only do you have a God saying it, but you also have this fervent nationalism.
Yeah, and that's for so many reasons that can get out of hand.
Oh yeah, I hate to bring up things that mass amounts of people have done to their citizens, but that's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, just in this country alone, what we're seeing right now with a lot of the shootings and
Hmm.
who was elected president,
Yeah,
it's the whole
I
thing's
have.
gross. But we're still one of the best countries to live in. So, like, what's to say
That is true.
for everywhere else? It's sad and it's scary.
I like. I I have respect for politics still. I still respect politicians. I still respect the government. I know and understand the importance of the government. So like when people talk about Trump, that's one of the main reasons why I'm just like so turned off about it, because it's a respectable position just like anything else.
Yeah, and Trump just scares me in general. I'm just like that. That's actually one reason why I just straight up left the left the right wing. It's just because I thought it was I thought I really agreed with most of it, and then I realized I was atheist, and then I kind of looked at all my worldviews, and the conservatism just started to wash away. And by
That
November,
Let me
it's
ask you a
just I was
question.
done.
Is it because you stopped thinking solely of yourself and started thinking on the long-term goals of humans?
No, no, actually, because I've always had some kind of humanist mindset. Um, it wasn't a complete it wasn't a complete paradigm switch as far as that goes.
Hmm.
Um, as far as my religious views go, it was a really big switch. But I like I was always taught that being gay was awful and it was sinful and you're going to hell or into this abyss for it. But at the same time, I'm just like I was still some kind of homophobe, but I didn't hate gays. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a lot of the other Christian fundamentalists that were out there and that I was around, and just everyone else who you would brand as a sinner. Like I didn't hate them. I cared about them, and I just
You hated the
saw,
sin.
yeah, like I hated the sin, but um like only as much as like I would hate sinning, you know? And I didn't. I absolutely didn't hate the sinner. I kind of thought it was crazy of God to like hate someone for being a sinner, but I'm like, but he's God. So
Yeah.
I would just kind of get over it, but just be like, God and I don't see eye to eye, but I'm still going to be the best person I possibly can and do my best not to be a sinner and live my life as
I'll
as
make
I
it to
thought he would
heaven.
want me to. Yeah, I'll make it to heaven because I really did try to like live by his rules, but um, but yeah, I mean, at this point I'm screwed. I'm never going to heaven. but but no, it wasn't a big switch for me thinking about humanity in that way because I already did or wanted to. So so that was an easy switch for me.
See, I was so selfish and only cared about myself. And I I didn't understand why. But as soon as I accepted that I wasn't gonna believe in a God, for some reason I started to care about things outside of my body. Like the long-term survivability of the human race became more important. That
Yeah.
and because since I know that I'm finite and there is no afterlife, that my biggest legacy is what I'll leave behind for the next generations, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And something that made me feel like that was more important was um, I don't know if anyone here listening has watched Crash Course Astronomy,
Mhm.
um, or even The Cosmos. So Phil Plater, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You can blame them for my atheism. But just seeing how big the universe is, like really, because you don't focus on that when you're
No.
focusing on religion. So realizing how finite we really are, I think really ups our value. Like because that's how you measure value is like what you have the least of. Well, most people don't have many diamonds, so that's a very valuable thing. With the whole universe, we don't have a lot of humans, as
Yeah.
far as we know, anyways. So we should really value each other. I think.
Yeah, because scientifically speaking, we're still all one family. You're my brother as much as my blood brother, technically.
Yeah, I can see that, and it's not. I mean, you can relate that to how everyone thinks we're all cousins from Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
We're all you know we're all of this earth. We're all from the same Big Bang.
Mhm.
So however you want to look at it, like there's definitely a connection there, and I think that's something that no matter what the religion or non-religion, that's something we could all potentially respect.
Unless
So
you're like a sociopath.
unless you're still a
You know? Yeah, because
sociopath.
they just can't physically understand things like that, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely, yeah. And I'm I feel sorry for people like that who can't feel things like that because that's they're missing out on so much of life and they just don't know it.
Yeah. I you know what, ever since I converted, I've now been a lot more calm. I don't get as angry. I'm not angry at the world. Like I just look at things and I'm just like, this is really beautiful, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I always did that, but at the same time, like once you're not religious anymore, you can say, "Wow, this is so beautiful," without saying, "Wow, how did God do that?" Like you
See,
don't have to add that tagline at the end of everything you look at.
yeah, or I was just worried about, wow, this is beautiful, but I'll die and then go to heaven and then it'll be even more beautiful. So who cares, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
All this is really nice, but it's going to be golden highways and pathways in heaven. Got my 42
Yeah. And
virgins.
yeah, I think it's 72 actually. The
Yeah,
line. Don't don't sell yourself short, because I'll take those extra 30 virgins.
you can have them. Apparently, you'll get more.
I'm greedy like that.
Hey, it's heaven. It's all your desires.
That's right. All I want is virgins. That's what I know. Because they're property.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
because
yes
women
to
are
all of that.
property.
Yes.
God, that is such a true statement.
No, it's a false statement. It's not true.
No, no, I meant like
Watch,
how it's like
watch
shaped our
Shannon Q just walk in
worldview.
on.
No, like how it shaped our worldview that women have been viewed as property for so long.
Yeah,
And it's so hard for us to like not think of them like that.
yeah, yeah. It's true. And even when in like the 1800s, where they were just really more or less babied, just don't be out in the sun too long. You're not supposed to work like a man or whatever. It's just, to me now, it's just like, oh, they were just trying not to damage the goods.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
less chivalry and
It's
more don't
it's
damage
all about
goods.
the childbirthing to
Yeah.
spread your heritage and your genes.
Yep. And if Mrs. Snarky was here, I would have her come on and yell vagina like last night, but I guess I had to do it. So, is there anything else you'd like to say about your channel while we're here?
I mean, it hopefully it'll go in some really interesting places. I know one of the things I do want to focus on because this is something I don't understand within the atheist community is Ayn Rand, right? I fucking hate her. I hate her ideologies, but she's an atheist that tried to set up a system for objective morality. Nobody really talks about that.
And who was it you said?
Ayn Rand, the
Okay.
writer of The Fountainhead, and she's the libertarian like goddess.
Okay.
But
I've heard I've heard the name. I'm gonna have to look her up more.
yeah, she's an atheist and her whole philosophy that she developed is based upon being a rational individual, which is a selfish individual because you only have one life to live. So anything that doesn't involve you extending your life or bringing pleasure to your life, she hates altruism, she hates philanthropy or any of that stuff. But she's an atheist and she built this morality around this selfish idea. And that's why a lot of libertarians have a selfish mentality. It's really interesting when you listen to her talk about religion because she thinks people who believe in religion are dumb. And she says it a lot. But many of her followers are religious, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's silly. Aaron Ra's latest, or one of his latest videos, is he points out one of the things I like is it's, if you believe in God, if you're a Christian or religious at all, that doesn't mean you're dumb. Just because you're an atheist, it doesn't make you a genius.
Yep.
There's a
Yep.
lot of dumb atheists out there. It's
Hmm.
just, and maybe I'm one of them. I don't know, but
Well,
um,
we only know what
it
we
doesn't
know and
make
know what we don't.
exactly. And that's one reason why I say it's really important for you to find what you're passionate about, and then share that, because if you're passionate about it, then it's easy for you to learn more and really want to get everything right, research it easier, and just share that. And then that can be what your voice is all about.
Yeah.
If you're a jack of all trades or a mac of all trades, then it's really easy to make errors.
And we don't like to be wrong.
No,
I mean, I'll
I
admit it
hate
when
being
I'm
wrong.
wrong, but I will do it biting my lip.
Yeah. Um, great. Well, I'd like to share a couple things with you and with the live chat since they're here. And then after this, I'd like to take some questions. So if you guys want to throw some questions for Beast nor God in the live chat, Don can read those off here in a minute if he's still here. If he's not sleeping. Um, I made my Facebook page today for Gray Skeptic, which is no great feat. But I also created a group because I thought about again. Thanks, Don. He's here. Awesome. I thought about again your latest video, or what the latest video that I had watched. The atheist community has a problem.
Hmm.
I agree with a lot of it, and I don't necessarily think that we are obligated as atheists, a lone title as atheists, to take care of everyone who converts over or just whatever. Because just being an atheist is just um, not having a belief in God, or if you go the philosophical term, believing that there is no God.
Hmm.
Um, but most of the atheists that are in this community, anyways, are humanists, and I think that's where the morality lies. That's where we can take this title and say, hey, we're atheists, we're humanists who want to help people. We're not a church community, we're just humanists. And so we'll help you without making you pray to God for it. Right?
Hmm.
So I created a group on my or from my new Gray Skeptic Facebook page called League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, and I've been wanting to make it for quite a while now. But I thought talking about your videos and your goals with your channel, now is a good time to start it up. So I'm going to try to really launch that and get that off the ground after this weekend.
Yeah, and that's a good idea. Is having, a support group or something, a place where people can go and talk or throw some ideas, man. Because the last thing I want is somebody to deconvert and then go down the path of white supremacy and then end up doing something they wish
Yeah,
they never had. And that's why I say, that's why I ask if we're obligated, but I didn't necessarily mean it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we have some sort of sense of responsibility to build something after the deconversion?
right. And in ways yes, in ways no. Like I said, as an atheist, just with that label alone, I think not necessarily, obviously, but as an atheist humanist, absolutely, that's one of my main goals. That's why I'm not just an atheist YouTuber making my own videos and ignoring everyone else in the community. I want to help this community grow so we can help not only each other but our viewers as well. Because people who watch our videos, like you said, can be converted or are just going through this alone on the other end of the screen. They don't have their family or their friends to talk to. And if the bigger, better community that the more people that we can really impact in a positive way.
And this is why Jordan Peterson is so fucking popular. It's not because he's intelligent. It's because he has found a way to motivate people and advise them without the guise of Christianity, you know? And he
Mm-hmm.
does it in a very old school way that calls to, the things that you enjoyed while you were little, or it's this like soft authoritarianism.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But
I don't necessarily um, hate Jordan Peterson as much as almost everyone else in our community because I like I feel like I like where it's coming from. I like something about him, but
no,
at the
I
same
understand.
time,
Yeah.
he's a disappointment.
Like I totally get what he's trying to do.
Yeah,
I just don't I don't agree with the let's flirt with the idea of what is Jesus. Fucking define it and then say what you are. Don't
yeah,
flirt and don't try to get followers or whatever. Just be concrete, man.
yeah. He's incredibly vague and
Yeah.
an incredible amount of circumstances.
The more and more I listen to him, it's like I can see why people like him. And I get
Yeah,
the allure. And I know what he's trying to do because he's very passionate about it. And he doesn't want, the left or right to become too extreme. I mean, that's something we should all agree on. It's but he is just a very unique and complex person.
to say
And
the least.
yeah, and you cannot learn about him just by reading his books or watching one or two videos. Like, you have to watch a lot about him to nail him down on a specific topic.
Yeah, yeah, you do. And and things that I like him for is his kind of anti-feminist approaches to things because he's not just straight up anti-feminist. He's just kind of against that third wave feminism. And I can't remember what show he was on, but this one feminist host of whatever show. I can post the link if anyone wants to see it later. Um, she's more or less like attacking him on his views and like giving him like the normal stereotypical feminist beat down, and
And
he
she
just
got shut down.
completely, oh yeah, he just completely shuts her down. I'm like, wow, I'm very very impressed
And
because
which
he did it in such a way that she like pretty much apologized. She's like, okay, yeah, you're right, I'm very sorry.
It's because nobody knows how to debate anymore. They
Right,
come in with some talking points, and Peterson is a fucking psychologist. You're not going to come in with like a written script of like rhetoric against him. You're going
no,
to have to tease these things out to find the real gist of what he's saying. If you come at him with some rhetoric pre-written out, he already knows how to defend himself against it. All
yeah,
he has to do is just look calm and just look at you and be like, "No," and then that's it.
yeah, yeah, it's true. And at the same time, though, I'd encourage you to watch the latest debate that he had. Um,
The
it was what you call I forget what it was, but like moral progress, and he was on the same side as Stephen Fry
No,
in
that
the
was the
debate.
PC culture debate, and it was
Was
the
it?
the monks debate. Yeah, I watched the
Yeah,
whole
the monks debate. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah, I
that was
watched that
when
last
that
week.
the black guy was going to town on him. He called
Yeah,
him a mean white man,
I mean, he called him
which
that
is
twice.
which is like, come on, dude.
He
We
doubled
can
down.
come up with some better arguments against Peterson. I mean,
Hmm.
they
But
all made
Peterson was
great
so
points, though.
offended.
Yeah, I
Yeah, they
know.
did.
He
They
did
did.
get really
It
upset.
was a pretty decent debate.
They all made great points, but the fact of the matter is they still didn't talk about PC or political
Yeah,
correct,
as Stephen Fry. Yeah,
like
yeah. As Stephen Fry kept saying, he's like, I think people are going to look back on this day and wonder why we didn't discuss the topic.
it I still do. I mean, there was some great stuff that got teased out. You got to know
Yeah.
more about Peterson as an individual, and Stephen Fry is really funny,
Oh, he's so fantastic.
but the moderator should have, guided it back towards it.
Should have. Yeah, he should have. All
But
right, jumping back. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, but that's why I made one of my other videos about because I'm tired of Jordan asking what is too far on the left. So I made a video trying to answer that question because
That's the next one that I'm going to watch on
yeah,
there.
and it's really hard to define what right and left is, but then it's also really hard to to understand that Peterson doesn't make an argument. He just says, you know, racial superiority is the farthest right that, you know, you should go. What are
Yeah.
the reasons? Why is that a right wing idea? Like, I don't understand why it's a right wing idea. I mean, maybe the traditionalist aspect of it, but that's all he says.
Right. Right. And then when he was asked the same question, you know, where does the right go too far? He had no answer whatsoever, which
Yeah,
I was
he's
so
like, I've
surprised about
studied
because
it.
he brings it up so often.
Yeah, I've studied it for 100.
Like 150 years.
I'm all about right wing authoritarianism or totalitarian and left wing. I understand them. Yeah, well, explain it so I know how you got to your path, man.
Yeah.
So I can follow your steps and be like, yeah, I can come to the same conclusion. I mean, that's what I try to do. Is the reason why my videos might seem long is because I lay out how I got from point A to point B, so that if somewhere on that journey to point B you veer off, I want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what a discussion is.
Yeah,
That's how you get to
because
the bottom of it.
maybe there's just something wrong with how I'm thinking about it. How did you not come to the same conclusion as me, but we're both looking at the same set of facts?
Yeah. Yep. All right. I'd like to get to questions because I do need to wrap up soon. I actually have to go to work tonight after this.
What do
So,
you do?
I actually, I'm a manager at a grocery store for a
Oh,
vendor.
oh yeah, that's right. That's where your Jesus story came
Yeah,
from.
my Jesus story.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. On a night shift, like tonight. So, I haven't seen him since, though. Too bad.
Maybe he was Jesus.
Maybe he was. Maybe he went back up to heaven.
You never know. That was your one chance, Mac. You're going to hell.
Yeah. Well, once he told me he was bringing back that hammer, so he didn't kill anyone with it. That's when I really, really started to think he might not be Jesus.
Wait, what if it was the
But
hammer that
Don,
was
do you have any
used for
questions
the
for me?
nails?
Too new a hammer.
Compelled Unbeliever wants to know, how do you feel about school vote, and do you think religion will abuse it?
You cut out there. I said, I heard, how do you feel about school? What?
School vouchers?
Oh, I
Think
fucking hate the idea of
maybe.
school vouchers. I actually did a research project in college about charter schools to see if the introduction of charter schools in the Texas education system would, if over the last 10 years, if it's actually helped. Turns out that the majority of charter schools fucking close and shut down, and then most of the money that was pumped in these charter schools is lost. Uh, the only benefit like these private schools have is, I guess, because you feel like you pay for something, then it's obviously better. Because public education is free, you don't value it. But voucher systems are terrible.
Yeah, and the Republicans right now are trying to push for all voucher and no public.
Oh yeah, I know. Believe me, I'm very involved in Texas politics, and this is something that comes up all the time. And I've been to many committee hearings on it. I've talked to many representatives about it. I used to work for the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee in Texas. So yeah, that's one of the issues I do really care about is education and properly funding it. You know, there's this thing in Chicago right now going on about they're going to build a police station instead of investing in schools. But if you think about it, if you invested in schools, would crime rate go down? And when you invest in a police station, does crime rate go up?
Education always makes population do better and have less crime.
Exactly. So, like, why would you be investing in a new police training facility instead of investing in the inner city schools so that poverty isn't this generational thing or whatever?
Yeah. And your opinion on homeschooling?
It homeschooling's I'm 50-50 on it because I know some people who homeschool and they actually teach their kids like real shit. They don't teach them, Christian stuff. They teach them evolution, they teach them science. They just have the time to spend with their kids. They have that luxury, and that's great. And if you feel like you can do that and you're going to teach your kids to a standard curriculum that isn't like a creationism and stuff, then I'm all about that. It's just when you homeschool your kids and then you indoctrinate them and then they can't even answer what 4 + 4 is. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen that video, but there was a video about Christian homeschoolers and they went around asking them simple questions like, what's 12 divided by 3? And these kids were like, I don't know, but I can tell you who God is.
I never saw that.
Say real quick.
Is for me. You mentioned Aaron Rand. I want to know what you think this community saying about my opinion is she has really bad ideas.
You're breaking
Yeah,
up real
spot.
bad, Don. It's hard to
Yeah.
hear you.
Oh, I want to know what the atheist community should be doing with Ayn Rand.
Oh, okay. So the major thing that Ayn Rand does is she sets an objective based morality system. Like it's centered around a rational individual, which in game theory, a rational individual is any action that brings the best outcome for the individual. Like that's basically what it is. And she's built this sense of this morality system around this idea of being a rational individual. So for libertarians, if you can knock down that key concept, then you could almost knock down their entire philosophy.
Right. But like most atheists are humanists from what I've seen. And she is not a humanist.
No. But she is an atheist. And the things that she says resonates with people who don't understand that it's okay to be a person who wants to do things that benefits them, right? And a lot of people who feel that way feel ostracized. They're like, well, I just want to be selfish sometimes. And she understands how to speak to that because she says, philanthropy is a terrible idea. Why would you give away your resources if it's going to lower your chances of survival? That doesn't make sense. Or why should we be spending more money on handicapped kids when we could be investing in the intelligent kids? Those are her concepts.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you said yeah.
Okay. All right. Mac, this one's for you. Your Facebook group, can you DM me on and I'll get it set up on the website?
That's what I added you to today through your email. So you should have something on it.
I'll put that on the website and make it so people can find it easily.
Cool. Yeah, my goal for that is just have enough of us content creators who act like we have our shit together to have like a little helpline of a community for our viewers to go to and
talk about. And on that, Duke made a comment I want to talk about. He says we are required to provide a safe place for atheists to be. I'm not sure if we're absolutely required, but if you're a humanist, you're morally required, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and I would agree with that. It's I mean, I look at most things as subjective, especially that when when we're going by the term atheists or anti-theists, like anti-theist doesn't have any moral stamp on it at all. It's like an amoral thing, so we don't really have moral obligations there. But a humanist um, belief is like it's a it's a moral set of beliefs, more or less. So there, I would absolutely say, yeah, we are required, more or less, by humanism to do the best we can for these people.
Right. And do you have any comments on that, Beast?
Yeah, the the space should be not necessarily like a safe space, but one in which you're not going to prey upon somebody's weaknesses to get them to follow an ideology of yours. Like, it should be a place in which ideas, not necessarily like a or free marketplace of ideas, but where ideas can be discussed and evaluated from a multiple standpoint of humanists, atheists, or whatever.
Right. And I'd like to re-point out that I named this group um, League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. So for any atheists who don't want to adhere to um, humanism beliefs or thoughts, you don't need to be part of this group. You don't need to back it up. Simple as that. Anyone who's interested in what that means and they want to be a humanist and they don't believe in God or they're agnostic or whatever, they can jump in here and see what it means and just help the cause, more or less, help the community grow. That way, because I hear Godless Cranium talk a lot on the moral argument where he's more or less debunking a video where it's like, hey, where do you get your morals from if you don't believe in God, or what if it's not objective, everything's subjective, and now you're a nihilist. But you don't have to be nihilist. And it's just he points out that being atheist is just being atheist. That's all it is, and I agree with that. So like I said, I named it Atheist for Humanism. That way, just it narrows down the atheists that we're talking about, and
Right.
it's easier to help them or help our viewers that way without having that argument of being, well, you're just atheists. Where's this morality come from? Well, it's our humanism half.
Hey,
So,
I got a challenge for the
yes.
first group is everybody take a look at the Humanist Manifesto and point out the things that you don't agree with. Because I can almost guarantee you there's probably nothing on it that you wouldn't be like, yeah, I don't think so.
I'll check it out. Absolutely. Is it just a book, or can I find it online?
No, it's if you look up humanism, it's on their website because it's
Okay.
like a doctrine of theirs. So if you just Google search Humanist Manifesto, it's literally just like 20 sentences.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
not that
definitely look at
long.
it tonight.
Yeah.
Cool. And then another thing, or two things I want to point out real quick is one, if you guys didn't know, I was homeschooled actually for 8 years, and I went to charter schools in that time, like online classes. That being said, my mom did have a lot of time to put into our education, but we still did learn a lot of the creationist aspect of things. Like Bible study was one of our subjects that we did like every day. So there was that. But also, I wanted to share with the chat, since we had discussed this. I'll share it. John Oliver's video on charter schools, and it goes over a little bit of what you discussed, Beast.
That's where I got a lot of my points from is that
Oh,
video,
awesome.
and then I did some of my own research on the side. But right now my daughter goes to a public charter school, but it's a public charter school that's designed for college preparatory stuff. So it's just a different outlook, but it doesn't have like this Christian base or something like that. There are good charter schools.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the one that we went through, it was kind of shit for a while. It really was. It was White Hat. They actually um, discussed that one on there. But White Hat is actually like a head organization of like a whole bunch of other charter schools, and we
Mhm.
were in one of those charter schools. And my mom was actually in direct contact with the top guy of White Hat, because if she sees anything wrong with anything, she has to go straight to the top. She's very much mom like that. So she actually really helped a lot of homeschool families try to get the help that they needed to um, teach their kids the closest to right way as they could. She like went to other homeschooled families' houses and helped them set up their computers from Odella and White Hat and whatever, and did a lot of work. Like she was very profoundly invested in this, and still, like if there was any kind of testing that um, that parents should do to homeschool their kids, I don't think she would necessarily pass it, but she is definitely above a lot of the homeschool parents who have no business teaching their kids whatsoever. Because I've met a lot of those too.
And that's why I'm about it, because there are parents that abuse it, but then there are parents that take full advantage of it like they should to teach their kids. Maybe their kids just don't want to, they can't learn in the way the public schools teach. They need a more one-on-one. And if you can be home and do that for your kids, more power to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it can definitely be really beneficial, and I hope it's not something that completely gets abolished. But if it
It'll never
does,
in the state of Texas.
no, no.
Never, because that's like the Christian, the fundamental Christians, they love that shit. Like I've got two homeschoolers behind me and they're fundamental Christians. And it's just like they just sit in their house all day and listen to fucking Jesus music.
That's all they do.
Yeah, no, he works from home and they never leave the house. I only know him because I have a relationship like, Wilson in Home Improvement.
Oh wow.
I just see the top of his head.
There's a really good friend of mine. There were three brothers, and they were all homeschooled, pretty much just through high school. And the youngest, whenever I went over to hang out with his older brothers during like school hours, he was never doing school stuff. I don't know what he ever learned, but he was a very he was shy, but he was real well spoken. He he um he had more determination than most people you would meet on the street, and he was so good at playing guitar. Like he just whatever he saw, he would dive into, and he'd be really good at. But I mean, that's part of that reason is because no one guided him, you know. So
Hmm.
he decided to be his own good little person and be perfect at everything he tried. But um, everything he tried didn't include academics. So that's where it can really be harmful, obviously. So,
Yep.
I'd like to jump into Glow Jay's question. If I could.
please.
Glory wants to know what Beast thinks of atheist churches wanting to implement the ordinances of their atheist church. That is and stuff.
You're gonna have to say that last half again. We didn't hear you.
Okay. Atheists implement the ordinance of God into the church.
You
Just-
might have to type that one.
Yeah, did
Am
you
I
say?
breaking up?
Yeah,
bad?
did you say that there's atheist churches that are implementing the ordinances of God without believing in God? Oh, now I can't hear him. What he thinks of atheists of the atheist church wanting to implement the ordinances of God into their atheist church, baptisms, baby dedications.
That's so fucking funny. So
That
I guess it's keeping the same framework of like the community aspect of going to church every Sunday, so you don't lose that sense of community, and then like you're a part of an in group by doing these baptisms and baby dedications, I guess. Yeah, that's fuck. No, that's not. I'm not a
Is it?
no. Yeah,
Is a baby dedication like a human sacrifice, but with barbecue sauce?
No, I can get what you're saying. There's Holy Kool-Aid did a video about like this atheist church or whatever where they shared a space with like a regular church, but the people just went and he gave a really positive review about it. But no, I don't think there needs. I don't like the idea of having this like set religious where like you got to get. It's like a gang initiation. You got to get beat up before you come in. Don't need a Baptist or a baptism to be an atheist. It's just your disbelief in God. However, a community space in which like-minded people can get together, like how churches have built, I think that's one of the major reasons why people don't leave church or the religion. They're going to be like, well, what do I'm not going to have a community to go to. Where am I going to go on Sunday?
Right. And it's a lot of what you had said, Brad, is where do these people go after they leave the faith? If someone feels like they have a hole in their life, religion is something that tends to fill it. If not, a lot of times it's drugs. A lot of times it's video games. And but people tend to fill it with something. And
Terry Crews on pornography.
Terry Crews on pornography. That's probably the best thing that they could fill a hole in their life with. That's probably the next thing I'm going to fill the next hole in my life with. But just saying.
With pornography. That's so funny.
Terry Crews pornography.
Yeah. Well, that Old Spice commercial of him like playing that drum set with his muscles, it's still phenomenal. I can't believe that somebody had the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And if you've seen Deadpool 2,
not yet. Don't
it
ruin
is
it for
so
me.
good, man.
I'm gonna see it tomorrow.
Oh, you will not. I swear to you, it won't disappoint you, and it will leave you feeling like, wow, I might like the X-Men once again.
Awesome. I'm excited for it.
Oh, dude, I never go see a movie again in the theater, but I would go to see Deadpool 2 in the theater again. It was that good.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. I saw Hugh Jackman did like a 20-second video of just him doing a little selfie video of, all right, I'm going to say this. Deadpool 2 was actually fantastic. It was great. I can't believe I just said that. And then that's the end of the video. And he posted it on Twitter.
Well, because if you understand like the relationship of Deadpool and Wolverine, it's funny.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Because they hate each other. But
because he's annoying as shit.
You know what? I also found out that Hugh Jackman didn't even know who Wolverine was when he first got the role. So he read up on books on Wolverines and wolf packs and thought that was what the character was about. So when he got on set, everybody looked at him like, what the fuck are you doing?
Did he think it was just underworld?
I have no idea, but he did a lot of studies about like wolf packs and wolves, and like he was so over the top on this set that they said that the directors told him that he needed to cut it out.
That's hilarious.
I know. How do you not know who Wolverine is, but you're gonna play the character?
He must live like underneath the earth, right, Nacha? All right. Do we have any more questions, Don?
The only other thing, can you hear me all right now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you fine now.
The only other thing is Zero made a comment that PC is just a PC term for not being an asshole. And I'd love to hear Beast comment on that.
I don't know. I've mixed feelings about the PC culture. Like I get the right side and the left side, you know. The right side of I should be able to speak however I want. If I want to call you an asshole, I shouldn't respect your feelings because the world isn't fair. And boo hoo. And then I also understand the left's point of view where like we should treat each other with respect, and we should want see, it's like the golden rule, except I changed the golden rule where I like to treat others as how they would like to be treated, because I'm not uh the moral standpoint of the universe. If you want to be talked in a certain way, ask me and I will do everything in my power to oblige that request, because I would think you would do the same for me.
Good answer. The reason why that kind of I have an issue with people that do the I should be able to say whatever I want to you. It disregards anybody that is, for example, my son is autistic and doesn't understand why people would say certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're saying something rude to him, it could set him off and, cause him to be very angry. And, that's just one of many examples where if you just say whatever you want to someone, it can be harmful.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree that words can have a real effect on somebody's emotions and their physical stress. But at the same time, do you want to stifle people so much that they become white supremacists? Like there's got to be a balance that we have to figure out, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like not everybody comes from a malicious intent. Like sometimes I will accidentally be like, "Oh, that's gay," because I grew up saying it in a like it doesn't mean gay as in homosexuality. It just means like that's lame, and I understand why that's wrong to say because gays aren't lame in that sense. But it's just sometimes I can't stop it.
Right. Yeah, it becomes a habit.
Yeah, because I grew up doing it, and it's really hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But I've gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot better. I've taken faggot out of my vocabulary. Uh, it's just gay is really hard because of that. What's that one movie with that Asian guy where he's like gay, and it just sticks in your head because of that.
Right. And that word for a long time, and I guess even now, goes along with queer, and other words for queer are just odd, strange,
Yeah.
weird, and so it's kind of hard not to say it when it's just like a synonym.
It is, and I live in the South. My wife's families are conservatives, and I know when they say some things sometimes that it doesn't come out the way they're actually thinking it. And goddamn,
I think the important thing is intent.
yes,
When you say something, if you say it wrong but intend it to be just a regular thing or a positive thing, then people should not give you crap for that. But
Right.
if you're using the word faggot to insult homosexuals, then you're an ass. You need to stop it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my opinion.
That's a good opinion. I think.
And it goes back to that whole thing. Like, if I say a word, like if I refer to something as gay and you're like, I don't really like that word, can we use something else? I'll be like, oh yeah, sure, man. No
Yes,
problem.
no big deal.
Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I have a friend that is gender fluid, and this friend of mine uses the pronoun per. And I'm getting better at using that pronoun. But when I call per a he or a she, per doesn't get pissed off at me. Per just says, it's per. And I'm like, oh crap, I did it again. And then we just carry on, right?
Right.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's like
all
a
about
child
respect.
when you tell them not to do something. It takes at least 100 times of saying, "Nah, don't do that, man." I have 3 kids, so it's the same way. Like,
Yeah. I'm a child.
no, we
That was
all
the main
learn
point.
like children, though.
Yeah.
Like, it would be really hard. I don't have any gender fluid people in my life. I know a couple trans people, and whatever they want to be referred to, I'm like, if I slip up, don't hate me for it. I will get better.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. Awesome. That's it from the chat that I saw, unless there
Okay.
was some in the last few minutes.
Awesome. Well, that's all I'm seeing as well.
Okay.
Thank you, chat, for being here. Cosmo
Yeah, good
Nacha,
questions.
Zero, Glow J. I think I saw Wonder Lady in here. So we had a really good crowd tonight. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for everyone for watching. Thanks for participating, Brad and Don. I think Beast and I are gonna do a live stream sometime soon discussing right-wing politics and propagandists.
Yeah.
So that should be fun. So you guys keep an eye out for that. We'll let Don know when that is, so he can put it on the calendar.
That would be a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. You're really great to talk to you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming over to my channel.
Well, thanks for having me, and you too, Don.
Yeah, no problem, Brad.
Yes, thanks for being here, Don. I really appreciate it. All right, everyone, have a good night. And
Fun at work.
Thanks. Remind me. All right, guys. Everyone have a good night. See you later.
Bye.